Shalom. This is Truth is Everlasting, Lion's Den. I am Yahawah. I camp out with Lion Den, Hawan Ben Yeshua in Jacksonville, Florida. But first, I'd like to give a prayer to the Father, to the Son, to the elders, to the Akims, and to the women and children. Kal Halayim La, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawah Shai. Bahashem Ha Rogak Rodash Mahamath. In the name of Yahawah Shai, in spirit and holy and in truth. Double honors to the 144,000 chosen elect. Double honors to the elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder Hawam. Salutation to the Akims who are on the four corners of the earth. And to the women and children, Shalom. Okay, this video popped up on the phone. Very well educated, right? And some strong, heavy truth that, what's his name? Gaddafi, the Gaddafi, it's like a speech that rattled world power, the ugly part of United Nations. Woo! Somebody was holding this back, huh? And let it out loose. The title of this lesson, I will send for many fishers, said Yahawah. All right, let's play a little bit of it, then we'll go into the scripture, okay? Here we go.
To nations and countries, and we are like Speaker's Corner in London Hyde Park. We just speak and nobody implements our decisions. We are mere decoration without any real substance. We are Speaker's Corner, no more, no less. We just make speeches and then disappear. This is who you are right now. This statement from Muammar Gaddafi's speech at the 2009 United Nations General Assembly underscores the motivation behind the desire to remove him from power. The United Nations has faced extensive criticism from Africans, African leaders, and the entire developing world, with accusations that it serves the interests of a select few member states rather than the collective welfare of all its constituents. In reality, the United Nations was not established with the interests of African countries in mind. In 2017, during the 72nd General Assembly, Robert Mugabe, the then president of Zimbabwe, vehemently called for the reform of the United Nations. He stated, "The vision that we must present for a future United Nations should not be one filled with vague concepts that provide an opportunity for those states that seek to interfere in the internal affairs of other states. Concepts such as humanitarian intervention and the responsibility to protect need careful scrutiny in order to test the motives of their proponents." This statement by Mugabe takes us to the so-called humanitarian intervention in Libya that led to the death of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. This so-called intervention was just a disguise. It was a lie for NATO and co. to get rid of another African leader whom they saw as a big threat to their authority. In 2009, Muammar Gaddafi, who had ruled Libya for 42 years, delivered his first and only speech at the UN General Assembly. It raises concerns that a leader as outspoken as Gaddafi participated in the UN Assembly only once, although our focus today is not on this matter. During his speech, Gaddafi disregarded protocol by extending what was supposed to be a 15-minute address to a staggering 90 minutes. Following his initial greetings, he proceeded directly to the core of his message, making bold statements as he was renowned for. He said, "As is known, the United Nations was founded by 3 or 4 countries against Germany at the time. The United Nations was formed by the nations that joined together against Germany in the Second World War. Those countries formed a body called the Security Council, made its own countries permanent members, and granted them the power of veto. The United Nations Security Council comprises 15 members, with 5 permanent members and 10 elected by the General Assembly every 2 years. The permanent members hold veto power, enabling countries like the US, China, Russia, France, and the UK to individually block legally binding Security Council resolutions. Given their differing viewpoints, this often leads to inaction on urgent international crises. For instance, in the case of Syria, when the UN called for scaling back attacks in Palestinian state, acting against illegal settlements, and allowing expelled Palestinians to return. In total, there have been 263 vetoes since 1946, highlighting a significant challenge faced by the UN. Gaddafi went on and said, "We were not present at that time. The United Nations was shaped in line with those three countries and wanted us to step into shoes originally designed against Germany. That is the real substance of the United Nations when it was founded over 60 years ago." In this statement, Gaddafi highlighted the lack of representation in the early United Nations and the persistent disparity between the organization's ideals and the reality faced by many nations. When the UN was founded in 1945, only 4 African countries were founding members: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. However, the concept of independence for South Africa was deeply flawed due to the apartheid system, where the majority black population suffered under the rule of a minority white government. South Africa gained nominal independence in 1910, but this independence was marred by racial segregation and oppression. It wasn't until 1994, when apartheid ended, that South Africa achieved true independence. The UN, despite being created to serve the interests of all member states, failed to address the atrocities and inhuman acts committed within its own member state, South Africa. Furthermore, during the UN's founding, most African nations were still under colonial rule. Ghana gained independence in 1957, Nigeria in 1960, and Algeria in 1962. While the UN might have played a role in expediting the independence of these nations, the organization's effectiveness and commitment to the interests of newly independent states were questionable. Many aspects of these countries remained under the control of colonial powers like the UK and France, revealing a stark contrast between the UN's ideals and the realities faced by African nations at the time. Gaddafi, still on the creation of the UN, continues. That happened in the absence of some 165 countries at a ratio of 1 to 8. That is, 1 was present and 8 were absent. They created the Charter, of which I have a copy. If one reads the Charter of the United Nations, one finds that the preamble of the Charter differs from its articles. How did it come into existence? All those who attended the San Francisco Conference in 1945 participated in creating the preamble, but they left the articles and internal rules of procedures of the so-called Security Council to experts, specialists, and interested countries, which were those countries that had established the Security Council and had united against Germany. The preamble is very appealing, and no one objects to it, but all the provisions that follow it completely contradict the preamble. We reject such provisions, and we will never uphold them. They ended with the Second World War. The preamble says that all nations, small or large, are equal. Are we equal when it comes to the permanent seats? No, we are not equal. The preamble states in writing that all nations are equal whether they are small or large. Do we have the right of veto? Are we equal? The preamble says that we have equal rights, whether we are large or small. That is what is stated and what we agreed in the preamble. So the veto contradicts the Charter. The permanent seats contradict the Charter. We neither accept nor recognize the veto. What he stated holds undeniable.
Okay, let me leave it at that. So you can see it's like the same thing with the Constitution, right? All men are created equal in the image of God, right? All lip service, okay? The Edomites have caused so much damage, so much wickedness around the world that people around the world and governments around the world are fed up, right? Truth has become magnified and is still increasing, okay? And it's going to keep on increasing for eternity, okay? I want to go to Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, said Yahawah, and they shall fish them. And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. So the scripture's making it clear that a time will come that when Yahawah the Father, turns Yahawashi loose, and he gives the 144,000 chosen elect, okay, the new spiritual Superman body, woo, okay. These wicked people, Edomites, right, they're not white, they're going to be hiding in their bunkers. They're not going to be, saved or protected in those bunkers, okay. They're still going to be taken out of those bunkers and still going to be found guilty, right, of the crimes that they have committed from the past to the present, right? Let's not forget that, what's that movie called again? Son of Freedom, right? I didn't get to see the whole movie. I just saw what was in the YouTube. But America's #1 in child trafficking, right? So, and let's not forget what's going on also in Hawaii and Maui. All those missing children, right? And what's going on with the land, with the items. Slakia. I want to go to Amos, chapter 4. Let me find it first. Oh, I think I passed it. Give me a minute. I'm looking. Amos. Here we go. Chapter 4, verse 2. Yahawah has sworn by his holiness that lo, someday, right, sometime, some year, the day shall come upon you that he will take you away with hooks and your posterities with fish hooks, right? Look up the posterity. All future generations of people, the victims' names are recorded for posterity. Okay, why it says when you look it up, all future generations? Well, it's only really talking about the 12 tribes. Okay, the so-called Negros Latinos, Native and Speckled Birds. Okay, because Yahawah Bashim Yahshua, along with the angels, they've been keeping record from the beginning of time to today what's going on, right? If I go any further, it says the descendants of a person, right? Yahawah offer Abraham a posterity like the stars of heaven, right? You find that in Genesis 26, verse 4, okay? So he will come back and remove this wicked kingdom and put back the so-called Negros Latinos, Native and Speckled Birds, right? He's going to come back for the 144,000 chosen elect first and 1/3. I hope and pray that I'm one of them, okay? I want to go to Psalm chapter 89. But the Edomites, along with the tiny hats, they're going to go into slavery for 1,000 years. Psalm chapter 89, verse 35. They're not going to escape. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. No. David will come back when Yahawashi comes back, okay? And they're going to rule the world along with Jacob and Israel. Okay, verse 36. His seed shall endure forever, his throne as the sun before me. Verse 37. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. Okay? In other words, it's going to be a done deal. Okay? The Edomites have one more chess move on the chessboard. The whole world's waiting. But at the same time, Yahawah Shin Yahushua is the one moving the board, right? He controls all things, always have and always will. While the Edomites and tiny hats don't like it, that's their problem. Luke what? Luke chapter 1, verse 33. Slovakia. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Woo! So all this mass murdering that's going on around the world for power, for greed, is going to come to an end. Okay? That's the beauty, all right, about being called in the name of Yahawah Shin Yahushai, okay? And giving the spiritual eyes to see with faith the truth through the Holy Spirit. I want to go back to Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 17. For my eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is there iniquity hid from my eyes. Yeah, everything that the Edomites and 2/3 of our people are doing, the wickedness, right? Yahawah Shin Yahushai sees all things, okay? Just like the Edomites are so excited with this technology that they're spying on everyone, everybody forgot that it's illegal for cameras to be in stores and in the streets, right? Or recording or our phone. You go back to, what's his name again? That President Nixon, Watergate, right? He had two choices. Imprisoned for life because he committed treason, or impeachment. So they gave him a nice check, and I believe he left the country. He went somewhere else and lived a happy life for now. Okay? But yeah, they're not supposed to have all this camera watching and spying, being peeping toms, right? But that's okay, because who gave them that knowledge? Yahawah Shin Yahushai, right? So they can boost up their confidence and feel that they have total power and total control with their fake gods. I want to go to Hebrew. Hebrew chapter 4. Give me a minute while I look for it. Verse 12. For the word of Yahawah is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the divine as under of souls and spirits, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thought and intent of the heart, of the mind, right? Discerner relating to judging, skilled in judging, righteous judgments, okay? So, yeah, the whole world seeing that the lip service that the Edomites and the rest of his countries that are aligned with America, okay, which are also Edomites, right? They only have one agenda. Is that they want to have total control of the world, right? And keep doing wickedness for what? For eternity? It's impossible. They can't. Because they're destroying the earth as we speak right now. All their wickedness, right? Mother Earth, as they say, is fed up with wickedness as well. Okay? Verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifested in his sight, But all things are naked and open unto his eyes, of him with whom we have to what? Do. Yeah, sooner or later, everybody has to answer to Yahawah Shem Yahushai, even the Edomites. Okay? They got no choice. They can run, but they can't hide. Not even AI that they keep saying so intelligent won't be able to protect them or save them. I want to go to Psalm chapter 33, verse 13. Yahawah looks from heaven. He beholds all the sons of men. Verse 14. From the place of his inhabitation, he looks upon all the inhabitants, Salakia, of the earth. Verse 15. He fashions their heart, their mind alike. He considers all their works. Yeah, day and night. Okay? So the Edomites, for years, they've been trying to convince the whole world that we don't only pay attention to them. If we don't only keep our eyes on them, they're going to what? Rape, rob, and steal, and give us pain and torture us. Right? And take us out. Well, guess what happened? For being so consistent, the whole world is fed up. They didn't see that coming. Verse 16. There is no king save by the multitude of an host of armies. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. Yeah. And that's what they're showing the whole world, right? That they're powerful, mighty. Well, not for long. Because Yahawah is going to turn Yahawah Shai loose in those so-called UFOs. The Bible calls them chariots or clouds. And when Yahushua comes back with a host of angels, it's only going to take 1 hour. Okay, when the war begins with Yahushua and the Edomites, 1 hour for him to put them in submission. Woo, that is so beautiful. I want to leave it with Jeremiah chapter 16. And let me start with verse 18. And first I will recompensate their iniquity and their sins double, because they have defiled my land. Yep, they sure have, those Edomites. And 2/3 of our people. They have defiled my inheritance with the carcass of their detestable and abominable things. Verse 19. O Yahawah, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in the days of affliction. Yeah, because it's coming. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the end of the earth, and shall say, surely our father have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Woo! Wow. By the way, the Gentiles talking again about the so-called Negros, Latinos, Americans, and speckled birds. Okay? They're realizing that all this money that we've been working so hard for, running after, has no value, no wealth, no purchasing power at all. That's why they're bringing in the digital currency, known as the invisible money, where if you don't use it as when they say, it has an expiration date. How you like that? Right? I mean, what an insult, right? That they want to tell the whole world that they're the only ones that can get wealthier and wealthier, and everybody has to stay poor and do what they say. It's not going to happen. But they can keep dreaming. Okay? Verse 20, Shall a man make gods unto himself? They are no gods. That's right, they are no gods. But they want to keep convincing. You know what Hitler said one time? If you say a lie long enough, they'll believe it. Well, the Edomites want to keep insisting that they are gods when they are not. And never will be. Okay? That's impossible. And I'll leave it with verse 21. Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand and my mighty, and they shall know that my name is Yahawah. Woo! Yeah. It's going to be clear to the whole world that the Father, when He sends His Son Yahushua, He's going to come and clean house and take over what belongs to Him. Always has, and always will be. Everything on earth and in the universe. I hope that this was edifying. And with that, I'll say Shalom.